I feel pretty. Welcome to our step-by-step guide to getting your first passport. Hopefully you've already watched our video on what is a passport, but if you haven't, a passport is basically a government document that tells other countries what country you're from. In other words, if you're planning to leave the United States, you're gonna need one. So who is this video for exactly? This video is for any US citizens born or naturalized who are applying for their first passport, and for any parent or guardian who is applying for their child's first US passport. Even if you've had a passport from another country but never one from the United States, this one is also for you. In this video, we will cover all the things that you need in order to get your first passport and walk you through the process of how to actually apply. If, on the other hand, you're looking for information on replacing or renewing your passport, or you want to know what to do if your passport is lost, damaged, or destroyed, those videos are coming soon. So make sure that you're subscribed and tap that notifications button so that you don't miss the alert when those videos come out. Preparing to apply. Like I said, in this video, we're going to cover how to get your application together and then actually go apply for your first US passport. This is so exciting. There is a lot of information in this video, so pause here if you need to and go grab a pen and paper. We'll do our best to keep it from being dull as toast, but we are talking bureaucracy here, so no promises. And on the chance that you're concerned that this process might change, bear in mind that it's been about the same since I got my first passport. Your entire application will consist of the following: original proof of citizenship and a copy, photo ID and a copy, a photo of yourself, a DS-11 form filled out but not signed, a check for payment because again, bureaucracy, and an in-person interview. For your copies, they need to be single-sided, black and white, and on standard 8.5 by 11 paper. This stuff, also known as US letter paper, I think. You are going to send in your original proof of citizenship with your application, but it will get returned back to you at some point. And so we're on the same page here. You will have to apply in person if this is your first US passport, if you are the parent or guardian of a child under 16 who is applying for their first passport, if your last passport was issued before you turned 16, if your passport was issued more than 15 years ago, or if your last passport is just beat to hell. While it is possible to hire a company to help you with your application, we honestly recommend doing it yourself. The process really isn't so bad, and honestly, it involves a lot of personally identifiable information that you would not want to fall into the wrong hands. And don't forget, you still have to go apply in person, not to mention you'll save a few bucks. Do it yourself. And one last note on protecting your identification. Any website you visit that's asking you to upload or download information, make sure it ends in .gov because that means it's an official US government website. Specifically, state.gov, which is the official website for the US State Department, aka the department that will be handling your application. The form you're going to be filling out is called the DS-11. You can pick up a DS-11 form at your local post office, or you could download the PDF version at the US State Department website, the link to which we have put in the description below, both because we love you and because this process is kind of a lot. I mean, look at this bad boy. So I'm not overwhelming you right off the bat, allow me to explain. All of this writing on here is actually just straightforward directions for how to fill out the form and gather the additional paperwork that you'll need for your application. That's why we recommend getting it first. Once you get the form, you can go ahead and fill it in right away, or you can wait until you get all the other stuff you need, but do not sign it. You need to wait until they tell you to sign it at the passport acceptance office, or you're gonna have to fill out a whole new DS-11. Also, like all the copies that you're making for this process, if you're filling out the form from the PDF online, make sure to print it out single-sided only. The State Department won't take double-sided versions of this form if you're printing it out at home. That said, the official DS-11 form that you get at the post office is double-sided, because reasons. Step 2. Prove your citizenship. Since a passport is a document proving your citizenship, you're going to need another proof of citizenship in order to apply for your first passport. And there are plenty to choose from, so bear with me. Also, please note that if you are a parent or guardian applying for a child who is a US citizen under the age of 16, that you will have to provide all of this documentation along with proof of your identification, which we will cover in step 3. So what documents can you use to prove your citizenship? Well, let's start with the most common, a US-issued birth certificate. In order to use a US birth certificate, it must meet the following requirements. Be issued by the city, county, or state of birth, list your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, list your parent or parents' full names, have the date filed with the registrar's office, which must be within 1 year of the date of birth, have the registrar's signature, and finally, it must have the seal of the city, state, or county in which it was issued. If your birth certificate is missing any of these requirements, contact the Department of State for the state in which you were born and request to have a new one issued to you. Their information should be easily searchable online. Google it. If you don't have a birth certificate that was issued in the United States, you can use one of the following: a consular report of birth abroad or a certification of birth, a certificate of naturalization, or a certificate of citizenship. Step 3. Prove you are who you say you are. Next, you'll need photo identification. And if your nearest acceptance facility is located in another state, you're going to need 2 photo IDs. We will say that here at TripBee, we prefer to err on the side of more information is better, so feel free to bring as many forms of ID as you feel comfortable carrying. And, as with your proof of citizenship, make sure to make a copy of the fronts and backs of your photo IDs, once again, single-sided, black and white on standard letter paper. While the most common form of ID is going to be your in-state, fully valid driver's license, real ID, or an enhanced driver's license with photo, you can also choose to use one or more of the following: a valid or expired, undamaged U.S. passport card. Why you got the passport card and didn't apply for the book at the same time is not for me to judge. I'm just here to let you know you can use it. Your city, county, state, or federal government ID, a U.S. military or military dependent ID, your current valid foreign passport, a valid trusted traveler ID like Global Entry, Fast, Sentry, or Nexus, or an enhanced tribal card or Native American tribal photo ID. Note: there are a few more documents you can use, but you might have to bring additional photo ID if you choose to use them. For example, an in-state fully valid learner's permit with photo, an in-state fully valid non-driver's license with photo, a temporary driver's license with photo, or an employment authorization document, probably with photo. And like I mentioned earlier, whether or not you are a U.S. citizen, if you are the parent or guardian of a child who's applying for their first passport who is under the age of 16 and is a U.S. citizen, you will have to prove your identification as well. For this, you can either use a matrícula consular, also known as a Mexican consulate ID, or a U.S. permanent resident card, also known as a green card. Step 4. Get a photo. Of all the steps in this process, this is the one that seems to stop people the most from completing their applications. And really, it tracks. In an age where you can snap a photo on your phone and send it to anyone in the world via dozens of apps, it's wild to imagine having to take a physical photo and snail mailing it to some random office somewhere. But we swear, it's not actually that hard. And the State Department has even stepped up their tech game in recent years to make the process that much easier. So our recommendation is to go to a Walgreens, a CVS, a UPS, a Walmart, anywhere that does passport photos, and have them take it for you, because they're gonna have the right equipment and they're gonna know the specifications, so you know they're gonna get it right. Note that not every location offers this service, so do a search or call ahead to make sure that you can get this done at your preferred store. Another option is to upload an existing photo to the State Department website. We put a link to that option in the description as well for easy access. And if for any reason neither of these options works for you, a photo booth photo will also work. You just have to make sure that any photo that you use meets the State Department's requirements. It must be high resolution and in focus. No pixelation and no blurs. Your head must be centered and between 1 and 1.4 inches in height. It must be printed on photo paper. No, that crinkly. Get it right. Can I have your glasses, please? Can I throw your glasses, please? Glasses are not allowed in your photo. The background must be white or off-white, and there can't be any shadows. And you must have a neutral expression. Step 5. Get your payment. The cost to get a passport here in the States might be cheaper than some countries. Looking at you, Australia. But it's still not free. Since fees have a habit of changing, we will say that at the time of this recording, the costs are $130 for a passport book, $30 for a passport card, $160 for a passport book and card, because they don't do bundle and save options, plus a $35 acceptance fee. Please note that none of this includes Expedite fees, which I will cover in step 7. And the link to the fees is, you guessed it, in the description. It's down there somewhere. Do you see it? I don't see it. You'll see it. Just scroll down. There it is. Yep. Okay. Click on that one. The payment for your new passport book and/or card can be made in the form of a personal check, a cashier's check, a certified check, a traveler's check, or a money order made payable to the U.S. Department of State. So many options, none of which are convenient. The acceptance fee is a separate payment. How you pay the acceptance fee is up to the acceptance facility you go to. So, make sure you know where you're going ahead of time and what types of payment they'll accept before you head out to apply. Step 6, apply. Close to being done with this. You have your documents, you have your IDs, you have your application fees, and you are ready to apply. Now you are going to schedule an appointment at your local passport acceptance facility to make this magic happen. Most of the time, this will be your local post office, but sometimes it could be an office in your local city hall or library. To schedule with the post office, the USPS has created an online scheduling system, and can do like a big, like glittery, put the link in the description, ching. Along with the State Department's passport application facility website, in case your local post office isn't an option for any reason. This website is also great because, get ready for it, it will tell you what forms of payment are accepted at the acceptance facility for your acceptance fee. Boom! We did it.
Yay!
That's the dumbest sentence I've ever had to say in my life. Step 7, hurry up and wait. Sadly, you will not get your passport the day you apply. I am sorry. Instead, you will need to wait for your application to be approved and your new passport to be created and sent back to you along with the originals of all your documents. Processing times are typically 4 to 6 weeks, plus the time everything takes to get to and from the State Department. But Adelaide, I'm traveling sooner than that, you might say. In this case, it is possible to get your passport expedited for an additional $60 fee, but it may still take 2 weeks for it to get to the State Department and another 2 weeks for it to get back to you. But I'm traveling in like 2 weeks, you might scream in my face. In this case, you can apply for urgent processing, but you will still have to make a request for a special appointment through the State Department website. The link to processing times are, do I even need to say it? In the description. Is that too snarky? Please note that an urgent process will still take 2 weeks, so if you're leaving in a few days, well, you're not, sorry. Plan better! If you want to track your passport's progress, there's a nifty page for that on the State Department's website. The link is here in the description. Frequently asked questions, time for a little Q&A. Hey! Can my passport be rejected?
Yep.
Absolutely it can. If any of your documentation is out of sorts or your photo doesn't match the specifications on the State Department website, your application will be rejected and you will have to start the process all over again. That's why you watched this video, so that you wouldn't do that. So do it right. Your application will also be rejected if you owe the IRS more than $62,000, in which case you may also want to contact your accountant and possibly a lawyer because that feels like a lot of money to owe the IRS. Also, if you owe more than $2,500 in child support, it will be rejected because the government doesn't want you skipping out on your kid. And you probably want to talk to a lawyer there as well. Previous incarceration will not get you denied so long as you are on or have completed probation or parole. In this case, in addition to your other documentation, you will also just need to provide a discharge notice from your probation officer, a letter of termination from your probation officer, or a court order ending your supervised probation or parole. Is a passport good forever? After all of this, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, passports issued after you turn 16 are only good for 10 years, and passports issued before you turn 16 are only good for 5. While you will need to renew your passport once that time elapses, the good news is renewing your passport is much easier than applying for it for the first time, especially if you renew it just before or just after it expires. And speaking of expiration dates, make sure to check the expiration of your passport before you make your travel plans. Believe it or not, most countries won't let you in if your passport is getting ready to expire soon. The country you're traveling to will be the one to set the time limits, but a good rule of thumb is to have at least 6 months on your passport from the date of travel. Anything else I should know? I'm so glad you asked! First and foremost, make sure to sign your passport in blue or black ink the moment you get it. Do not sign it in any other color ink because if you do, it will invalidate your passport, which after all of this would just be... Be sure to store it in a safe location like a fire-safe box so that it doesn't get lost, stolen, or damaged. Passport control and airport gate agents do not like busted up passports. They might send you home if it's in really bad shape, and they definitely won't let you through if it's, missing. Also, your passport isn't a scrapbook. Put novelty stamps and stickers and other things of that sort in a journal or on your friends, not in your passport. Finally, while it may be your goal to fill up your passport, go you, many countries require at least 2 blank pages in order to travel, and some may require as many as 4. So if you plan on living overseas or becoming a bona fide globetrotter and you're worried about running out of pages, check Large Book at the top of your DS11 and you'll automatically get extra pages right off the bat. And if you miss this window, you can do what I did and send your passport in to get extra pages so that you don't have to get a whole new book. You're welcome. So even though this was a lot of information, and we thank you for sticking it out to the end, there's still plenty about passports that we will be covering in upcoming videos. We're also going to be bringing you a lot of great information on visas, as well as US-based travel ID programs like Global Entry, Real ID, and TSA PreCheck. So if you haven't subscribed yet, get on it so you don't miss out. We truly love bringing you this type of content and we hope you found it helpful. If you think we've missed anything or there's anything that you'd like more information on, please drop it in the comments and let us know. And to help us keep bringing you this type of valuable content, why not give us a like? This video was made with help from our Patreon supporters. Today we're thanking Seth Goldstein, Cody Terrion, and Sean Curry. Y'all are our heroes. We love you. Mwah. And if you too would like to hear your name on a future video, pop on over to our Patreon account and become a Trippy supporter today. And in the meantime, go get your passport and have an adventure. We will say that here at Trippy, what the
Trippy. Ermagerd, it's Trippy.
Ermagerd, it's Tripper. This website is also great because it will tell you what forms of payment are acceptable at your acceptance facility for your acceptance fee. One last time?
Sure.
Okay. And if you want to track your if you would like to travel, the link to processing times are, do I even need to say it? Down in the description. Go to the description. Down in the description. Go now. Don't be late.
Much slower.
I don't want any excuses. I couldn't find anything. Good?
Yep.
All right. Cut. That's a wrap.